Hey Judy, 263 is the place to be.
No, Ryan, the place to be is right here for a new episode of Garden Time. Welcome to Garden Time, and 263 is actually the Brooks exit off of I-5, where you'll find Adelman Peony Gardens and Schreiner's Iris Gardens. And later in the show, we'll be visiting both of them.
It's also a great weekend for the Cascade Nursery Trail. We're out here at Out in the Garden Nursery, and we'll be talking to Carol about what she has for the weekend.
And also, coming up in the show today, we'll be talking about the Inviting Vine Tours, which is coming up soon.
But coming up first, spring color.
Well, it's a beautiful sunny day to be at Eagan Gardens with Ellen Eagan, and so the weather's finally turned, so really there's new plants to put out.
Yes, there are, and there's still plenty of the old plants too. So those of you who are afraid that there's going to be nothing left after Mother's Day, rest assured there are lots of plants. A whole new round of hanging baskets has filled out and grown up. New crops have come up on a lot of our regular things, and some things like our specialties, the geraniums, are going to be on sale.
Nice.
So through Memorial Day, geraniums of all sizes and kinds are going to be 20% off.
Those are beautiful. And really the color palette and the flower palette has kind of changed going into this early summer. So you have things that are just going to be doing well this time of year.
Yeah, if you come late in the season because the weather was bad and you find that some of your favorite things are gone, look around and you might find a new favorite. A lot of people have never grown vinca because we never have vinca out in April. Or even early May. It requires heat, but then it also tolerates heat. During the heat dome last year, we had hanging baskets of these. They weren't even touched by the heat.
Wow.
There was no burn, there was no damage. It's just like 117, I don't care, I'm gonna keep on blooming and growing, I'm not even gonna wilt.
And they're going to get a little taller?
Yeah, these will get about,
10,
like
12
that.
inches. Wow.
They're about the size and shape of an impatiens. They look a lot like impatiens, so people get confused and think they're the same thing, but they're entirely different, and they love that full sun.
That is cool. So really nice for containers or the landscape.
Yes,
Excellent.
either one. If anybody's had trouble with bacopa going out of bloom in the heat, and I think probably a lot of us had, you should try scaevola. It's a real heat lavender.
Beautiful.
There's a great color that's sort of a lavender blue.
Pretty.
That's the most popular. But this white one
Nice.
just takes the place of bacopa beautifully. It's not doing its full thing yet, but it'll be just this waterfall of white.
I've never seen the white one, so it's really nice to have a kind of an alternative to bacopa. Use something different.
Yeah.
And then how do we keep these so beautiful?
Well, plenty of water when it gets hot. Who knows when it's going to get hot this year? We might go on through a cool June, but once it finally does do summer temperatures, enough water and giving them a little extra fertilizer. They need their vitamins and minerals.
Like us.
Yeah, so I really like the Proven Winners fertilizer. A time release fertilizer at planting time is good, and then supplementing every 2 or 3 weeks. If they're in containers, more often, every 2 weeks. If they're in the ground, they can go a little longer.
Okay.
But supplementing with a soluble fertilizer, the kind you mix with water and just put on, let it soak down into the roots. It's not something to spray over the top.
All right.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of people are perennial people, so do you have a nice selection for that kind of segment of the gardening of people?
We do, there'll be fields of iris and fields of peonies to look at, but if you want to see a little bit of a lot of different things, we've got that. We've got tall phloxes that are just all budded up. We've got monster lupins, we've got delphiniums that are all budded. Lots of things that are going to keep on coming through the summer too. We've got baby crops that we have only just planted and are still planting now that'll be ready in July, August, September. So there'll be something to look at all through the summer because, if you get to August and there's nothing blooming in your garden, it's just so land. So you should go out to your garden center and see what's blooming then.
Right, and then you have a long season of bloom. I think that's a great tip because sometimes you're just out and about early in the spring and then you have a spring garden and then nothing's going on. And so it does get boring, so great advice.
Yeah.
And I think too, the exit 263 is the place to be because you got Eagan Gardens, you got the Iris Gardens at Schreiner's Iris Gardens and Adelman Peonies. And so all these places are just welcoming people to come in and see their beautiful gardens and see their beautiful garden centers.
Is it okay to mention Seabrights too?
And Seabrights too, excuse me, yes, definitely. And Seabrights too. So really go to gardentime.tv, you can get the addresses and the directions for all these places and get out and get some beautiful things for your garden. Thanks so much, Ellen.
Thank you, Judy.
Since 1982, the Wall has been making local gardens beautiful, naturally. Whether you need a new wall, concrete patio, fire pit, or driveway, the Wall's expert craftsmen can build it. We back up our work with a 5-year warranty, so you'll know it'll last. We use the highest quality materials, including stamped colored concrete, natural stone, and we're the leader in using recycled concrete. Create an outdoor environment you'll enjoy for years, with the help of your friends at The Wall.
Find everything you need for spring at Al's Garden and Home.
Subaru Garden Days returns to the Capitol Subaru Pavilion in Salem. Join us for a day of food, fun, and garden excitement. Select garden vendors join Ryan and Judy on the Parkway from 11 to 3. That's Subaru Garden Days, June 11th at Capitol Subaru.
Build a beautiful home inside and out at French Prairie Perennials. Inside, we have just the right creative elements to complete your decor. We offer an oasis of unusual, nature-inspired garden and home gifts and accessories. Outside, choose from our wide selection of unique dwarf conifers and sparkling companion plants. French Prairie Perennials, located between Woodburn and Wilsonville. Take exit 278 to Aurora and French Prairie Perennials.
Join Garden Time as we hit the road again. In September of 2022, we'll travel to Holland and Belgium. We'll visit the world-famous Aalsmeer Flower Auction, Flora World, the University Gardens of Ghent, and the Japanese Gardens of The Hague. We'll also visit the once-a-decade Floriade Expo, the World's Fair of Gardening. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and tastes of Ghent, The Hague, and Amsterdam on this wonderful tour. Go to Garden Time Tours for more information, and we'll see you in Europe.
I'm out here at Schreiner's Iris. I'm with Ben. Ben, the gardens are in full bloom and they're spectacular. You know, the fields are open, they're cut, and you guys have a festival this weekend. It's continuing.
Yes, this Memorial Day weekend we have an artist fair. We're going to have wine tasting. Spiritopia is going to be out here. We're going to have cider tasting. So a lot going on, and the garden's going to be at peak bloom.
It is. You know, as we're walking around, things are still, there's a lot of color left in the gardens. We've had such a cool spring leading up to this that things are kind of extending a little longer than they have in the past.
Definitely. I think things are probably about 2 weeks behind this year. So that's going to put peak bloom, like I said, right on Memorial Day weekend.
So, which is very advantageous for people that want to come out. So, if people are looking for, you said list a whole bunch of activities that are going on. Where should they go to find this information?
You could head over to our website, shrinersgardens.com, and you can also check our Facebook and Instagram social media pages.
Right, because you're talking a little earlier, with the delay, there might be a delay in the festival going on a little bit longer too, potentially, just depending on the weather.
Yeah, I think we're still deciding whether to extend the open garden, but definitely check our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on that.
And so, people that have not been out yet, this is kind of the big hurrah for the season to come out. And you mentioned some activities that they could do, but what can they expect, when they come out here, to be able to do for the afternoon?
Well, we have 2 display gardens. We're standing in the main garden right here, all together about 10 acres. We have a flower show with all the iris that are blooming in the field on display. It's undercover. We have a gift shop, plant sale area, cut flowers, and then there's also a small field that you can walk through as well.
So Ben, you talked about you can pick up cut flowers. But there's a little bit of some tips that you have about how to make that cut flower bouquet last.
Definitely. So you can kind of what we call deadhead. So when each flower kind of fades, you just snap that off, take it or remove it from the stem, and it'll give room for the next bud to kind of open up on there.
So it's a great time, to come out and and see what these plants are looking like and blooming, and take in your notes, and then potentially order for next year.
Definitely. And one of the best things about the garden here is you can actually kind of see what they would look like in your garden, because there's tons of companion plants here too. So it's not just iris. You can see the lupin, allium, columbine, tons of companions.
Right, because I'm assuming you get a lot of people asking about these other flowers. Do you sell those too? But like you said, it's more about having the companion plantings and how they would look in your garden.
Definitely. We do sell allium on our website, mail order, but most of the things in here is just for display and to give context for what it may look like in the home garden.
Right, because who would not want a border of plants looking like this in their garden, especially filled with all the iris?
Absolutely.
And so when they best information to go to as far as for ticketing and admittance, can they just show up, or do they need to do it all online?
Tickets are going to be purchased ahead of time online, and again, if you check out schreinersgardens.com, there's information on ticketing there.
Okay, and we've talked a lot about exit 263 on how to get here. So what's the best directions on how to get down to the gardens down here?
Well, the best directions I would say is probably use like Google. But yeah, you take the Brooks exit if you're coming down from Portland, and then it's just like 5 minutes off the highway.
Right, because you can come hit you guys. You can go up to Adelman's. You can go down to Eagan's. You can go to Seabright. So there's so much to do down and it's a great weekend to come see all this.
Absolutely, you could easily make a day of it.
Yeah. So for more information on the gardens, and come down to see Schreiner, make sure you check out all the color that's in bloom right now. Go to gardentime.tv, or you can click you over to your website and come out and make a weekend out of it. So Ben, thanks for having us out today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
When people think of DRAM, they think of watering tools. They don't think about fertilizer. For nearly a decade, DRAM has offered a line of organic fertilizers for the home and commercial gardener. We were able to visit their fertilizer factory to learn about this great product.
The fertilizer fits because, number one, it's very organic. It's used on organic crops.
When you think about the history of using natural products in agriculture, it goes back to the Pilgrims learning how to plant corn from the Native Americans and using fish in that process. And that continues through today. The difference in what we do is how we handle the fish. There are fish emulsions there, which are basically a waste byproduct when the fish scraps are processed and things are taken out, like the oils for pharmaceutical or other uses, the solids for pet foods or other uses, and what's left over gets put in a bottle, and that's called fish emulsion. And we like to say it's like drinking the water after you boil the carrots. There's not much left. A fish hydrolysate, what we do is we actually take the entire fish scrap and we liquefy it, and then use an acid, much like vinegar, to pickle it and preserve it so it can't decompose in the bottle. When you mix it with water, it becomes natural again, and you can add that to the soil, and it's just like you caught a fish and you put it in your garden. It's exactly what it is. It's the fish in a bottle.
One of the things that we really like to emphasize when we talk about how our process works, the simple cold process that we use, is not taking away any of the nutrients that are naturally found in the fish offal that we collect. That process turns into a very nice final product that we can sell to a lot of different users who appreciate that kind of recovery of nutrients from something that could have ended up in a landfill or possibly some other spot that wouldn't necessarily have been usable in an agricultural method. If you look at our watering tools, it's a precise kind of idea there. We want to put some amount of water in a certain place, and this is the tool you can use it with. That, I think, goes along with our thought here that now we can use something that maybe isn't synthetic, maybe isn't the latest fad, but something simple and something basic that still provides a lot of good nutrition for plants, but also does it in an environmentally responsible way by taking something, like I said, would have gone into a landfill possibly, or maybe even tossed out at sea, that we could actually use for something more beneficial.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
At Portland Nursery, we believe that gardening is a creative endeavor that enriches our experience, enlivens the spaces around us, and provides a safe haven for the mind. Portland Nursery has everything you need to make your space feel unique, inviting, and exciting. From houseplants and hedges to trees, tools, veggies, and herbs, our selection is always growing and changing, just like you. Come visit us today at 50th and Stark, 90th and Division.
Subaru Garden Days returns to the Capitol Subaru Pavilion in Salem. Join us for a day of food, fun, and garden excitement. Select garden vendors join Ryan and Judy on the Parkway from 11 to 3. That's Subaru Garden Days, June 11th at Capitol Subaru.
For over 100 years, Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts have provided tree and shrub care services to the Portland metropolitan area.
From large tree and small shrub pruning, tree removal, and stump grinding, we can handle all your tree care needs.
Our arborists diagnose and treat your toughest insect and disease problems.
We also have organic solutions for growing and maintaining healthy gardens, as well as organic nutrition for your trees and shrubs.
Collier and Bartlett, environmentally friendly since 1907.
DRAM is celebrating 75 years of design and manufacturing of quality watering tools. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
No matter what shade your green thumb is, you can find the plants and the help you need at Wavra Farms. We're filled with an astounding array of colorful plants to fill your garden. In addition to wonderful annuals and perennials, we are known for our hanging baskets. We also have all your garden essentials, and we have great garden gifts too. From beginner to expert, you'll find something new and different with every visit. Wavra Farms, located off Highway 22, Exit 5, east of Salem.
Well, it's peony time, and you have to come to Adelman Peony Gardens, and I'm with Carol Adelman. And Carol, the gardens look lovely as always, and even with this horrible spring, it's beautiful here.
Oh, it's loving having the sunshine come out.
It is nice. And you know, I love coming to your display gardens. I mean, everything is wonderful, but to seeing the peonies with different plants, with trees and shrubs, and with perennials, with annuals, it really gives us a lot of ideas.
Yeah, we have a lot of companion plants. And you'll see bush peonies, and you'll see intersectional peonies and tree peonies. The intersectionals are a cross between the bush and tree peony, and they're really lovely.
And so why did that happen? Was there something that you were looking for when people started to cross those two?
Oh, human nature.
Just try something new.
Different.
Right, right. And this is a beautiful one here that it's this yellow, this lemon yellow, lemon chiffon is amazing.
Yes, it's was one of the early yellows. Now there's quite a few, but this one's really gorgeous. And it was crossed with Salmon Dream, the pink one, and an apricot-y one was the result. It's not in bloom right at the moment.
But that's what's so much fun about hybridizing, and then that's one of your specialties.
Yes, that's what I got relegated to. It's fun.
I bet. And you know, I think peonies are lovely in the garden, but they're always lovely to have cut flowers too.
Yes, they go gorgeous in bouquets.
Lovely. And I know that when we come here to see the gardens, you can walk through, you can take pictures, but you also have cut flowers for sale, and then you also have plants to take home.
We do, and we have 25 acres of peonies you can walk through, so if you want your exercise, come on out.
So Carol, it is nice now, but we had a really horrific April with so much rain. So is there something we should be concerned about going into end of May into June?
No, the warm weather should clear up any effects of botrytis, the fungus spore that could get on them, and the wind dries them off, and the sunshine makes them very happy, so we should be fine now.
They're pretty easy care plants too. I have some at my home, and it's like I just love them to bloom, and I enjoy them, I water them, but are they easy as that?
They are. They aren't really any insects that bother them. Just the botrytis in early spring is possible. And I put some tulip daffodil bulb fertilizer on and water it in, and you're good.
Oh, that is nice. I mean, we're all so busy now. We want to enjoy the flowers and, you know, just take care of them as best we can.
Right, and after bloom you can take off the spent bloom, and that way it won't spend the energy on making a seed pod that you won't use.
Oh, that's
and
true.
make the plant look nice during the summertime.
Because the foliage stays, it's so beautiful for the rest of the season until fall.
Yes, they make a nice landscape shrub.
Definitely. And so I love coming out here. I have to bring your walking shoes, got to bring your camera, because we can take pictures anywhere.
Right.
That is so nice of you that we can do that. And to really bring your family and friends and stroll around, take your time in the gardens. There's places to sit if it's a nice day and you want to enjoy it even longer. And so Carol, I know that you're at this wonderful exit, and so what exit do we take?
We're at the Brooks exit of I-5, exit 263 by Pilot Truck Stop.
And just follow the signs.
And we're just a mile and a half east.
Definitely. And you know, that is the wonderful exit that you can go to so many other places we've talked about. You can go to Eagan Gardens, Schreiner's Iris Gardens, and also Seabright Gardens. Really, it's a day in the country to enjoy and get plants to take home for your own garden. Thank you so much, Carol. It's lovely.
You're welcome.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Start your new Subaru story at Capital Subaru. We are like nothing else. From the moment you step through these doors, you see it, you feel it. We do things differently here. Our people, our culture, our customer experience. Tell us what you're looking for and we'll upgrade the way you shop for Subarus. When you're just browsing, need great service, or starting your next adventure, we're always here for you. It's your story at Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
Subaru Garden Days returns to the Capital Subaru Pavilion in Salem. Join us for a day of food, fun, and garden excitement. Select garden vendors join Ryan and Judy on the Parkway from 11 to 3. That's Subaru Garden Days, June 11th at Capital Subaru.
A vintage flea returns to Margie's Farm and Garden for our summer market. Browse over 50 vendors with all things vintage, antique, repurposed, and handmade. Enjoy food vendors, product demonstrations, and hands-on crafts. You can also take home a beautiful plant, basket, or planter from Margie's huge selection. Shop all day from 9 to 5 with free admission. Check out our Facebook page or website for all the details. That's A Vintage Flea at Margie's Farm and Garden. We'll see you there.
Well, it is so exciting. The Inviting Vines tour is back, and that's a special kind of a tour of clematis gardens, and it benefits the Rogerson Clematis Garden in Lusher Farm. And so this is a weekday, and we're at one of the people's houses. We're at Kathy's home, and it's a weekday, and so there's construction, so you can kind of hear that in the back, but the day of the event, I think it's going to be nice and quiet.
Oh, hopefully. Just the birds.
Just birds. Just sounds of the late spring. So, Kathy, tell us about your garden. Really, you have 150 different clematis here. Clematis.
I do.
Wow.
I do. Well, that's how many I've planted. You know, sometimes they come and go. But yes, there's a lot of clematis. I have it growing in fuchsias, hardy fuchsias. I have plenty of different tutors and structures, and I even make some myself. And it's just so fun, you know, and they're just coming out now. We're about 2 weeks later, you know, and
it's been cool.
It's been very cool and wet, but boy, they're enjoying this beautiful weather now.
Excellent. And you know what I love about your garden is that you're showing all the different ways that you can have them. Because some people say, oh, I have no room, or, you know, I need something special, but really you have them everywhere, and I think that is so wonderful to teach us that.
Oh, I do. I love clematis, but really I love it with other things. So they're planted at the feet of roses, big roses. They're planted in shrubs and trees, and at the clematis garden we do the same thing, so that you can really see clematis with all their companions.
And I think you have a special place that you'd like to kind of show off, and so I think that it's lovely just in texture, and then the clematis are just eye candy.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, texture is so important in a garden. The beautiful large leaves of the hostas, the small frilly stuff of the ferns. You know, the clematis are kind of in between, and then you have the wonderful grasses.
Definitely.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes your garden so exciting and so interesting, because of all that different texture.
Well, and it's fun too, and most of us that are on the tour, we have both sun and shade. So those of you who have shade in your yard and you think you can't grow anything cool, not so.
That is true.
Come and see.
Definitely, definitely. So there is many different gardens in this. There's 5 different gardens, and we're going to go talk to Phyllis about what's going on with the tour and then also what's happening at the garden. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, now I'm with Phyllis, who's an active member of the Rogerson Clematis Garden. So Phyllis, we're just talking with Kathy, who's one of the 5 different gardens for the Inviting Vine Tours. And so tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the tour, definitely there are tours of these wonderful gardens, all each unique and different, really all very close and easy to get to. But that's only one of the items or one of the things to do that day. So you can start out the day at the garden, at the Leisure Farm, or any of the gardens that you've got tickets for. But if you need to buy a ticket, you come to the farm first. Then we have a box lunch with a guest, Ann Yeager. So it's really great, engaging conversation with her and Linda Butler. Space for that's limited also, but there's a box lunch. And then in the afternoon, there are 2 wine tastings at one of our vineyards, or one of our gardens, which is also a vineyard and overlooks with a spectacular lake, a view of the lake. And then anybody can, we also have a raffle, but you could come to the farm any day of the year. And if you would like a private tour, that information is all available on our website, which is the RogersonClematisCollection.org. And we have other information there as well.
Yeah, and I know that is such a wealth of information on that website, because you have different kind of classes and events going on all the time.
Correct. We have one on June 4th, but that's filled. That's a propagation class. We have one on the 23rd of June, which is bringing your garden indoors. So it's Kathy Whitman is teaching it, and it really is sort of a follow-on in a sequence of classes. And this one first is planting and planning, and now it's being able to bring it indoors. So it's really fabulous. But on our website, we have everything you need to know, from all of the care about the plants, how to plant them, what thrives in sun or shade, and then we also have an entire listing of our plants that are in stock and available for sale. And you can actually buy it online and then come to the greenhouse and pick it up.
Oh, you know, they have all the bases covered, because you get all of that beauty at the garden, and then you can take it home too and get all the information. So really, for all this information about what's going on with the Inviting Vine Tours and at the garden, please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website, and you can come out and enjoy everything. Thanks so much. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
DRAM is celebrating 75 years of design and manufacturing of quality watering tools. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
Come to where the color is. Come to Eagan Gardens. We've worked hard growing healthy plants for you so that your gardening is easy. Add sparkle to your garden with our perennials, container plants, and skillfully designed baskets and planters.
Stop and get a mood lifter out here on the farm. We have lots of fresh air and lots of space. There's lots of blooming plants, new vegetable starts, shrubs, and berry bushes.
Eagan Gardens, where it's all about the plants. We're located west of I-5 at exit 263 on River Road.
Nestled in the oaks of the Willamette Valley is a nursery that is truly exceptional. At Out in the Garden Nursery, you will find a vast array of shade plants, ornamental grasses, and hardy perennials. Let us help you bring color and texture into your garden. We offer over 100 types of perennials. Many of our plants are evergreen for year-round interest. Plus, we offer the best in personal attention. Out in the Garden Nursery, where we grow great gardens one plant at a time.
At Sagawa Nursery, we always talk about taking your garden from ordinary to extraordinary. For us, that means bringing you the newest and best plants and unique garden items to you, our customer. For you, that means we'll help you transform your garden into something that's extraordinary. We also have some great gift items and even a few surprises for inside your home too. Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
Well, it's spring fever, and I am Out in the Garden Nursery with Carol. And Carol, so this is really a cool weekend for the Cascade Nursery Trail Garden Center, little nurseries. And so what is that about?
So it's our 9th annual Spring Fever Open House. All members are open. Some of them are normally by appointment, but this weekend you can go from nursery to nursery and visit all 8 of us over the course of the weekend.
And so we love to come here because we want to show off what you got, just a small sample of what she has to offer. And also, you know, you have to check out the beautiful display garden. So what do we have for this time?
Right. Well, I'm a geranium nut. I know not everybody is, but I love hardy geraniums. This is geranium fam. This is Raven. Raven has a plain leaf versus some of the other figs have dark spots, but it has a little bit bigger flower and it's much darker. You have to get them side by side to really see it, but it's a really nice long bloomer. They're loving this cool weather and they're gorgeous in the garden this year.
Very nice.
And then this is a new one called Rosata. It's actually like everything I read, it's brand new to me, but it's like Roseanne, but pink and long blooming. So a soft pink versus a hot pink like Ann Thompson, but a nice complement to the blue of Roseanne.
Nice.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And then this is a sanguinium. It's a spring bloomer, but this one blooms pretty long. It's actually elky, so it's a little bit different. The species is usually just a really vivid magenta. But this is a really nice, it's made a nice ground cover in our garden. We've been really happy with it.
And hardy geraniums are so cool. And look at how different all 3 of these are. And really, you can have a lot in your garden, and they all do something different, different colors, different bloom times. Really
absolutely.
neat. And look at this bleeding heart in pure white.
Yeah, the nice thing about this cool weather, the bleeding hearts still look great. Usually by now it's starting to get pretty warm and they're done. And this white one is so pretty, and I just thought I'd bring that in. So it's Dicentra spectabilis alba. So look at about 30 by 30. They like a little morning sun, keep them out of the hot afternoon sun. And they said this is usually about the end of their bloom time, but with this cool weather, it's a bonus.
Yeah, very much. And then these are 2 interesting habits down here.
These are Persicaria. These particular ones are new to me, but the more I look at Persicarias, the more I like them. These are a summer bloomer. One of them is an orangey red and one is a scarlet red. Their foliage will stay low, but they're going to bloom at like about 3 feet with 4-inch flower spikes.
Wow.
And they'll start early summer and go through fall.
Nice, nice. So it's nice to have that pop in the middle of summer.
Yes.
And then this one is a nice one here.
This one this is a Joe Pie weed. This is the little Joe. Some of them get to be very
So
tall.
big.
But this one's about a 30-inch grower, so it has a big flat top panic of flowers in the summer. Hummingbird, not hummingbirds, but bees and butterflies really do like it. They like the flat. Yeah, the flat. But it's really nice, and they're a good cut flower, and they're a long bloomer. Great pollinator plant.
Nice, nice. And then talk about blooms.
Yeah,
That's
this is
beautiful.
a Phalictrum. This is a new one to me, and it's my little favorite. And I have a feeling it's going to become a favorite. It's adorable. Cute little foliage, just starting to bloom. This one's a little shorter. A lot of the Phalictrums are quite tall. This is about a 24-inch instead of a 3 to 4 foot.
Yeah, it's nice to see one that's a little bit more manageable for smaller gardens. And then I think one of your favorites, I know you love these.
I love Ligularias. I don't necessarily have the best garden in the world for them, but I love Ligularias. And this is Little Rocket. I like it because it's got the really cut leaf and the super dark stem.
Nice.
They'll bloom in July, August. Big panicles or big longs of light yellow flowers, butter yellow. They're nice, nice for this the summer garden. And they like moisture, although I've had some, not this one, but similar ones reseed in my garden and not moist spots, and they're beautiful. So,
nice.
But they do prefer consistent water.
Right, and I keep on smelling this lovely fragrance of this lilac.
Yeah, this is one of the dwarf lilacs, which just means it's a shrubby shape instead of an upright. This is Miss Kim. It's super fragrant. They're
nice.
about a 6x6 plant in the sun. Pretty good long blooms on them, and ours is up in the corner and you can smell it at like 20 feet.
Oh, it is, and it's really beautiful here. I always say we need to have smell-o-vision. We don't,
yeah.
but it is a really nice fragrance. And you know, this is the time to go to all the Cascade Nursery Trail members. You can go to one after another. This is the time to go, and we're gonna toss it to Ryan, and he's at another garden center. Thanks so much, Carol.
Thank you, Judy.
Well, thanks, Judy. Now we're out here with Linda out at Miller Manor. And Linda, wow, what a great collection of plants you have out here. And Linda's on the next stop on the Cascade Nursery Trail tour. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the plants that you have on the table?
Well, we have an array of plants. We have everything from shrubs at the nursery to conifers at the other end. We have things that do not require a lot of water, which the first one is the witch hazels. We carry about 30 varieties of this, of witch hazels, and this one is George, which is great fall color and has kind of a strawberry red flower on it. And it blooms in the middle of the winter. Then we have this. This is actually a Scotch broom, and it's not a bad Scotch broom. This is a good one. It's sterile. So you plant it, you only have one plant. You're never going to have any more, and the neighbors won't have them. Then we have a lot of colorful foliage plants, like this particular one. This is Timeless Glow, but notice not only golden foliage, but pretty flowers too. And this is a relative. This is Timeless Night, I believe.
Yep.
But it has pinkish flowers with the dark foliage.
And then you have some hardy fuchsias in there.
Yes, we have everything from tall fuchsias to short fuchsias. And this is Preston Guild, and this is British Jubilee. We grow about 100 of these. My husband does his own cuttings of these. We take them in the fall. That's why we've got them in bloom now, because we've had them in the greenhouse. So.
And then some other fun kind of foliaged ones. You have a pulmonaria up front.
Yes, this is a new pulmonaria called Raspberry Frost, and it has beautiful kind of silvery green foliage with a white edge. And it's going to have raspberry colored flowers instead of the normal two-tone.
Right, they're pretty just like that, but the
Yes.
foliage even makes it even better.
Right.
And then this guy back here.
Oh, this guy, we'll have to raise him up to show him. This is Mint Crisp Honeysuckle. It has the traditional yellow and white flowers, but it has this cool variegated foliage.
Really pretty.
And it's evergreen for us.
Wow.
And does not require a lot of water, once again.
And then this little GM or Guam, I don't know how you pronounce it. Yep,
Yeah, we call it GM. This is Petticoat's Peach. I've grown it off and on for just a few years now, and it is only about 10 inches tall, but it blooms and blooms and blooms. It's got the longest bloom period I've ever seen on a GM, but it's short, so it's for a smaller garden.
Right. And then this little guy next to it there.
Yeah, this is one of the newer agastaceas. This is mandarin, and it sure looks like a mandarin orange, doesn't it?
And you get that nice fragrance with the
Yes,
agastaceas.
the foliage is fragrant, and the hummingbirds love it, and it doesn't require a lot of water once again.
You know, another great pollinator, looks like, this is a salvia, but it's got a
Yes,
little different
it
bloom.
is. It's one of the taller salvias, Moulin Rouge. It has a pinkish flower. The hummingbirds are going to love it, and once again, doesn't require a lot of water.
I'm detecting kind of a theme here.
Oh,
with
yes.
It's a lot of color, it's a lot of foliage.
Yes.
And you're doing a lot more drought tolerant kind of plants.
Yes, and this is one of the Heliopsis. Yeah, this is Sunstruck. This has been out for several years. Look at the beautiful foliage. It's supposed to look like that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they first see it, they're going, is there something wrong? No, it's not. And this is another one. This is Burgundy, Burning Heart, excuse me. Burning Heart has a very dark foliage. These both have a yellow flower, and they bloom probably for at least 2 months.
Really. You know, if you got the burgundy foliage there, this is a stunning.
Yes. This is Midnight Ghost. It's a geranium, and look at the color of that foliage. There's also one that we have that's called Boom Chocolata. It has blue flowers. So you get beautiful foliage all the time with this dark foliage, and then great flowers on it.
And then this little guy there, I love the foliage on this.
Yes, there's a lot of lily of the valleys. This is a really nice variegated lily of the valley. It will spread, so if you got a woodland area, you want it to go natural, that's it.
And then you talked about some of the conifers, and
Yes.
and you have some really unusual different ones that you're not going to find everywhere.
Exactly, yes. We have a lot of dwarf ones because the yards are getting smaller. So even though this one is a lodgepole, it's Taylor Sunburst, the new growth comes out bright yellow, stays for like 6 weeks. but I have one that's probably 15 foot in my yard now, and it's only about maybe 3.5, 4 foot across at the most.
You know, and this weekend is, you know, the Cascade Nursery Trail Tour, and you are open, because there's a lot of times you're not open all the time.
Exactly.
So why is the tour so special to come out and see you?
Well, it's because we have things you're not going to find in most nurseries. We don't have a lot of some things because my husband does his own propagating. And so that's why we're able to get some of these things. We grow them in our yard. The conifers, our son does the grafting for us. So they're all done right here.
Which is great. So if you're looking for something different in places that you haven't been to before and looking for something new, make sure you get out this weekend for the Cascade Nursery Trail and come visit Linda down here at Miller Manor Gardens. So
thank you.
Thanks for having us out today.
Join us for Berries, Brews, and Barbecue, now happening 3 weekends in June, featuring Oregon craft ciders and brews and barbecue. Enjoy barbecue. You pick strawberries, hay rides, live music, and much, much more. It's farm fun for the whole family at French Prairie Gardens.
For 90 years, Espoma has one guiding principle: develop the finest organic gardening products that work in harmony with nature, grow beautiful gardens, and make a greener world for the future. From our soil products to our plant foods, we have always been committed to the environment and sustainability. We use a vast array of natural and organic ingredients and package them in our 100% solar-powered plant. Look for the quality line of Espoma products at your local independent garden center. Espoma, organic from the beginning.
Judy, what are you doing?
You said to follow you.
Follow us on Facebook.
Oh, man. Well, we invite all of our viewers to follow the Garden Time page on Facebook.
And on our Facebook page, you'll find links to stories, you'll see upcoming events, and you also might even find a funny joke or two.
So don't forget, go to the gardentime.tv webpage and click the link for Facebook.
Peonies, bold and beautiful, an old favorite, but ever new, and perfect for your garden. At Adelman Peonies, you'll find hundreds of different peonies, bush, ito, and tree peonies covering 20 acres. Come stroll the display garden, then find a special plant or bouquet to take home. Join us any day of the week for beautiful color or weekends for special events. Adelman Peonies is just east of I-5 at exit 263 on Brook Lake Road, or online at peonyparadise.com.
Garland Nursery, a must-stop destination for those that want to play with plants and grow with their garden. Whether you are a new or a seasoned gardener, Garland Nursery can help fulfill your gardening desires and your landscape needs. From organic veggies, trees and shrubs to colorful blooms, from the newest trends in garden supplies and garden decor. Shop Garland Nursery to find that perfect plant or piece that fills you and your garden with delight. It's always a beautiful day at Garland Nursery.
I'm out here in the next stop at the Cascade Nursery Trail. I'm with Kristen out here at Hydrangeas Plus. And Kristen, the hydrangeas are blooming.
I know, this is the climber. This is probably our most popular climber. This is the Animala petiolaris, the straight species. Just doing its thing in May.
Right, and I love how these just kind of cling and attach and just, you know, they're so stunning.
Yes, and it does take a little bit of time to get them up there. There's kind of a trick to the climbing hydrangeas because they need to reach the top of what they're growing on and start to grow a little more horizontally before they'll bloom.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that is an
so
interesting. I didn't know
patience, if you put it on a large trellis or a large tree,
right,
or put it on something a little shorter, because then you can get the blooms a little bit sooner. So you can see how the blooms are kind of more hanging and floating.
Right. And it's, you know, I was looking around my yard and we've had people ask us, you know, it's been such a cool, wet spring, you know, things are really delayed, and like on my hydrangeas at home, I'm not even showing any signs of buds yet.
Yes.
You know, should I be concerned?
No, not at all. With the cool weather, I think we're 2 or 3 weeks behind. Yeah. But with this nice weather coming up, hopefully we'll get some blooms.
Get a little sunshine and a little warm.
We've had a perfect year for the blooms,
right,
for sure.
And then so with the Cascade Nursery Trail this weekend, you are open?
Yes, we're open.
For sales?
Yes, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as part of the Cascade Nursery Trail.
Which is great. And then you're going to be closed for a little bit.
Yep, then we'll be closed for a little bit. We have a senior graduating, our exchange student. So we're going to take a couple weeks off.
So, you know, as we're getting, you know, coming in, you know, picking out hydrangeas for this time of year, is there any tips that we need to know about, planting them, now? For
No, this is a great time with all the water we've had. The soil's perfect. Just make the hole probably twice as wide as the root ball. Water them in real well if Mother Nature's not helping with that.
Right. And there's, some varieties, they're obviously not fully in bloom yet. They're
Correct.
just starting. So when you're picking out a plant, to know the color or kind of what it is, that's where your expertise comes in. Right?
That's right, because a lot of them bloom pink in our containers, but they usually will tend to the blues around here with our wonderful acidic soil.
And then, which brings up a good point, that you can change colors of hydrangeas.
Yes, pretty in pink or pretty in blue, whichever you prefer. Blues are usually a little easier to do around here. Pinks, we sometimes have too much acidity in the soil, and it's really hard to raise the pH enough for it to be pink.
Right. So, but you have, about how many varieties do you carry?
319.
So, if you're looking for a variety of hydrangea, pretty sure Kristen's got it, and you can come out here and get all the information. You can pick out a variety or 10 or 20 or more.
Yes, or more.
Right, so make sure you come out, this weekend on the Cascade Nursery Trail, come see Kristen, come pick out a hydrangea, get all the tips and tricks on anything you need to know about hydrangeas. So thanks for having us out here today. We are looking forward to doing a little shopping.
Thank you.
Today we have a fun project for you. It's how to build a cedar planter box. All you need are 2 pieces of wood. This is a 6-foot cedar fence board. This is 1 by 6. And then you need an 8-foot 1 by 2 clear cedar board.
And there's just a few other tools and supplies that you need. You need a tape measure, you need something for a straight edge, a pencil, hammer and nails, and we're using roofing nails that have a blunt edge so that you don't split the wood in the planter box, plus they're galvanized so they don't rust. And you also need some kind of a saw, either a hand saw or an electric saw.
So we're going to take our boards now, we're going to measure them out and start cutting, and we'll show you how that comes together. So now we're going to cut our sides and our bottom out of our cedar fence board, and those are all going to be 19 3/4 inches long. So now with the remaining section of our cedar fence board, we're going to cut our ends, and both of those are 4 13/16.
From the 1 by 2 cedar board, we're going to cut the decorative frame for the top of the planter box, which looks like a picture frame. We're going to cut 2 pieces of 20 5/8 inches, and each side is going to have a 45-degree angle. From that same 1 by 2, we're going to cut the smaller edges of the frame, and that measurement is 8 7/16 inches. From the remaining part of that board, we're going to cut 2 pieces, 8 1/2 inches, and those will be the feet of the planter box. Now that all the boards are cut, we're going to start nailing it all together. Ryan, are you ready?
And now that we have our planters completed, we can go through and drill some drain holes in the bottom.
And if you would like to tackle this really easy project, you can go to the Garden Time website and we'll have the instructions there and you can download them.
Find everything you need for spring at Al's Garden & Home.
Join us for Berries, Brews, and Barbecue, now happening 3 weekends in June, featuring Oregon craft ciders and brews and barbecue. Enjoy barbecue. You pick strawberries, hay rides, live music, and much, much more. It's farm fun for the whole family at French Prairie Gardens.
Since 1929, Grimm's Fuel has powered great gardens around our area. With our comprehensive composting and yard debris services, we can apply quality garden mulch, compost, and blended soils with our experienced crews and trucks, including our landscape rock and bark products as well. We are proud of our industry-leading state-of-the-art composting facilities. We also can take care of your fuel oil and firewood needs. Grimm's Fuel, building great gardens since 1929.
Hey everybody, Brian Bauman from Bauman's Farm and Garden, and this Memorial Day weekend, we are having a giant sale for our giant 3-gallon tomato plants. If you were like me, I haven't even started my vegetable garden. It has been so wet and so cold. That's why these guys are gonna give you that instant catch-up, and right now, they are buy one, get one free. In addition to the tomatoes, we also have our 6-inch geraniums. Big, beautiful, ready to go, buy one, get one free. All of our pottery, 20% off. And on Monday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're gonna be barbecuing hamburgers. So bring the entire family out this weekend, have a fantastic Memorial Day weekend, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Well, a lot of us are familiar with Red Pig tools. I'm with Seth. We're in your workshop. And tell us about Red Pig tools.
Well, we've been around for over 30 years selling handcrafted artisan tools. We make them here in the Portland area. We make them out of American materials. We put a lot more detail work into most of them, and they're heavier duty. They're meant to last you a lifetime. And mostly we build tools that are based on historic designs that have, our current aesthetic.
Right. And so they are an artisan tool. So they are handcrafted and hand forged.
Hand forged, yes. We do a lot of hammering to shape things. We bend them. They go in a forge. It is all handwork.
And you have, the range of tools you have. About how many different types of tools you have?
Every year we make somewhere around 200 different types of tools, thousands of tools overall. But there's about 50 different hand tools that are really common that people buy every year. They're kind of regional specialties as well as national specialties, as well as the most common stuff you'd find. And then another 100 to 150 long-handled tools.
Right, because we see a lot of these tools, or some of these tools, in nurseries or home stores. But a handcrafted tool definitely has some benefits.
For sure. The handcrafted tools are meant to last a lifetime. They're the ones that you still find in barns today that were made 100 years ago, 80 years ago, tend to be made with a higher quality steel, that tend to be thicker, heavier. They tend to be designed for the work that was meant to be done rather than for the engineered manufacturing process. They tend to look more unique. They're not perfect. Every single one is different. So everyone has it's like a person. You get to know how to use the tool, and then you start to love it.
You have a couple examples of a tool that you might find just at a hardware store or something like that, and then ones that you make. So can you show us some of the differences of what people should look for when they're looking for a tool?
So this is a really common type of 3-time cultivator. People use it to mix in amendments, to break up clumps of dirt, to do all sorts of things. This is the imported version, the one you'll find at almost any hardware store you want. You can get a sense of it's probably 1/4 inch steel, maybe even less. Here it's pressed. The shapes are pretty angular. The weld's extremely light. It'll eventually break or bend if you use it. Another thing you're looking at is some of these angles and your handles. American hickory is one of the best handles. That's what we use. This is, could be any number of different types of woods. You just never know what wood is being used. And then ferrules. We always use a longer ferrule. Short ferrules are much more common. And you can see that we rivet things in. So a rivet is a really common indication of a good tool. And this rivet is essentially, we drill a hole through the metal shank, through the handle, goes all the way through to the outside, and then we hammer it down. So you have a mechanical connection.
It's not coming loose.
No, and most today do come loose because they're just shoved in with epoxy.
Right.
So those are some of the key things you can look at. Of course, one of the sort of common things is the disposability of a standard hardware store tool, and these are tools that we make. Red Pig are meant to be cared for as well as used. So no tool's indestructible. You can take a hand trowel like this, and even one I make, and break it if you stick it under a rock and try and pry out a rock. It's not meant for that. It's meant for working in the soil, for digging, for maybe even light weeding, any number of things, for transplanting.
So with such a wide range of different tools that you carry, there's kind of a tool for every job, right?
There is definitely a tool for every job and a tool for every person. Some people like them light, some people like them heavy. Some people need reach, some people want them close by. Some people insist on digging out a weed. So this is a Jekyll weeder. It's great for prying things out, going deep, digging, working under rocks. It's great. Often when you're doing that, you are bringing up new weed seed. It's going to germinate. You're replanting weeds.
Right.
But some people, that's the way they want to do it. Other people, outside of lawns, if you're working in a bed, will want to scuffle, they'll want to cut the weeds. And this is really I think is the more efficient preferred method. You go back and forth with this tool. Some of them you'll just draw on, but you actually are cutting weeds early, cutting them when they're young, damaging them, and they'll die right there and then biodegrade in the soil.
And then this is kind of an interesting tool right here too.
This is called a Cape Cod weeder. This is a little version to make them small and quite large, all the way up to long-handled tools. It's been around. It's more or less invented in the United States in this iteration about 100 years ago. However, there's European L hoes that have been around for quite a bit longer than that, probably from Germany originally, or that area. It is a scuffle. So it goes back and forth. The originals were mostly meant to be drawn towards you.
Okay.
They're generally, the original ones that you'll see are sort of flat steel that's just bent around. So it was kind of a beginning of a mass-produced tool here. This I hammer down flat, sharpen it, bend it, put it all together.
And and for somebody that has one of your tools, what is just some basic care to keep the tool lasting?
There's a few things that you can do. One, when I ship them, they're coated in a clear enamel. They are pre-sharpened, so sharpening is good.
Okay.
Generally, if it has a sharpened edge, you can keep it sharp with a mill bastard file or some kind of file. You could take it to a farmer's market, have somebody sharpen it there, but that's a good idea. It'll be better. Overuse, the handle will probably not wear away unless you're grabbing it up here, the enamel. But on the blades, that'll wear away after use. If you're using it all the time, no big deal, but you may want to oil it. You may want to spray clear Rust-Oleum, spray paint over it. There's any number of things you can do to keep it there, but generally keep it, don't let wet soil sit on it. Your handles are coated in paraffin wax and stain. They should be restained and or oiled every year or 2 years if you want to get the longest life out of them.
Right. So, with some just basic maintenance, you can keep this tool a lifetime.
For sure.
And for people that are interested in these tools, where can they go to find them?
Best place is online at redpigtools.com. If you're in the Portland area, I do sell a limited version of tools. Here's a version of a 3-tine cultivator that I sell through a lot of retailers around here, JP General in Multnomah Village, Garden Fever in Northeast, Portland Nursery, Schreiner's Iris Gardens, Concentrates. Those are some places that carry a limited array of the tools.
So for more information on Red Pig Tools, make sure you go to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to their website. So,
great.
Seth, it's been a pleasure to be out here. I kind of want to go tour and see how you're making these tools.
Well, let's do it.
Thank you for watching Garden Time today. We want to wish everyone a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and just remember to be safe.
For more information on today's show or any of our other episodes, go to gardentime.tv. Judy and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week on Garden Time.
Subaru Garden Days returns to the Capitol Subaru Pavilion in Salem. Join us for a day of food, fun, and garden excitement. Select garden vendors join Ryan and Judy on the Parkway from 11 to 3. That's Subaru Garden Days, June 11th at Capitol Subaru. The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.